Right now, whether you see it or not, something inside you is sabotaging your confidence, your ambition, your discipline, your rise. Maybe it's fear, maybe it's laziness, maybe it's insecurity, maybe it's your desire to be liked. But whatever it is, if you don't crush it, it will destroy everything you're trying to build. This video will show you the exact Machiavellian strategy to eliminate the weaknesses that make you exploitable, predictable, and powerless. Let's begin. In the courts of power, men do not fall because they are hated, outnumbered, or outplayed. They fall because of one simple truth. They refuse to confront the weakness that was slowly devouring them from within. Today we uncover Machiavelli's darkest lesson, not how to defeat your enemies, but how to defeat yourself before your hidden cracks become the doorway through which the world destroys you. Weakness is not the loud enemy that storms the gates of your life. It does not announce itself like an army marching in formation. It arrives softly, silently, disguised as habits you tolerate, excuses you repeat, and fears you avoid. Machiavelli understood this better than any philosopher of power. He warned rulers that the greatest threats are not foreign invaders or rebellious citizens, but the small internal cracks they pretend not to notice. A kingdom collapses from within long before an outer force ever strikes. And the same is true for a human being. People imagine their downfall will be caused by a dramatic betrayal or a catastrophic mistake, but most people are destroyed long before anything dramatic ever happens. They are undone by tiny weaknesses that rot their foundation while they stay distracted by the grand illusions of life. Look closely at your own life. The weakness that is undermining you is already active. It is already influencing your choices, shaping your reactions, and determining what you dare attempt. You may call it procrastination or lack of discipline, but Machiavelli would call it something far more dangerous, a vulnerability that your enemies, your competitors, and even life itself will one day use against you. Every weakness is a weapon in someone else's hands, and if you do not neutralize it, someone eventually will pick it up and strike you with it. Weakness is the quiet whisper that tells you to delay what should be done today. It convinces you that you have time, that you can change later, that improvement can wait. But power never waits. Power rewards the decisive, the alert, the self-aware. Weakness waits for you to be distracted, then slowly drains your ambition, your confidence, and your will. It's the reason you avoid difficult conversations. It's the reason you hesitate when opportunity appears. It's the reason you play small, even when you know you were built for something greater. Machiavelli would say that those who fail to govern themselves will be governed by their own flaws, and nothing is more humiliating than being ruled by an enemy who lives inside you. People think weakness is harmless because it doesn't hurt them instantly, but poison doesn't kill instantly either. Weakness works the same way. It corrodes your inner strength drop by drop. You tell yourself it's not a big deal. You tell yourself it's temporary. You tell yourself you'll change when the time is right, but the time is never right. And your weakness knows you will never fight it unless it becomes unbearable. That is its strategy. It waits for the moment you need your strength the most, then reveals that it was never there. Imagine a ruler who ignores a crack in the castle walls because it looks small. Over months, water seeps in, stone weakens, and the crack deepens until one day an enemy's push collapses the entire structure. The ruler blames the attack, but the truth is he destroyed himself by neglect. In life, your collapse will look sudden to others. They will think a breakup, a failure, a betrayal, or a crisis destroyed you. But you will know the truth. You were already falling apart from within, long before the final blow struck. Weakness also has another dark trait. It disguises itself as comfort. It doesn't present itself as something dangerous. It presents itself as the easier path, the more pleasant option, the safer route. It tells you to avoid discomfort because you deserve peace. But peace without strength is surrender. Comfort without discipline is decay. Machiavelli warned that a ruler must constantly train for war even in times of peace, because comfort breeds complacency, and complacency breeds ruin. Your weakness will always choose comfort. Your strength will always choose growth, and whichever voice you obey becomes your fate. The problem is that most people never confront their weakness because confronting it requires honesty. Brutal, uncomfortable honesty. You'd have to admit that the biggest obstacles in your life were not created by others. They were created by you. Machiavelli would say that nothing is more difficult than ruling yourself, because the human mind is a master of self-deception. You can lie to others, but the lie you tell yourself is the one that does the most damage. Your weakness grows every time you deny it. It thrives in denial, in avoidance, in pretending that you are fine. Your competitors, however, are not blind. They see what you refuse to acknowledge. They recognize what triggers you, what intimidates you, what distracts you, what exhausts you. The world studies you, even when you are not studying yourself. And the moment they identify your weakness, they will exploit it. A person who is ruled by emotion will be manipulated. A person who fears conflict will be dominated. A person who craves approval will be controlled. A person who lacks discipline will be predictable. Weakness does not only destroy you from within, it also sends signals to others, broadcasting exactly where to strike. A wise ruler hides their weaknesses, but an even wiser one eliminates them. To ignore your weakness is to hand over your power like a gift. To confront it is to reclaim control over your fate. Weakness is the most patient enemy you will ever face. It does not need to rush. It does not need to overpower you. It only needs you to remain passive. It wins when you do nothing. It wins when you postpone. It wins when you numb yourself with distractions. Its strategy is simple: wait for you to destroy yourself through inaction. Imagine how different your life would be if you saw your weaknesses the way Machiavelli saw threats, something to be crushed decisively, ruthlessly, and without hesitation. Imagine how much power you would reclaim if you treated your flaws not as parts of your identity, but as enemies that must be neutralized. Weakness loses its power the moment you stop defending it and start dismantling it. But until that moment comes, it grows stronger inside you each day, shaping your destiny in ways you never intended. Eliminating your vulnerabilities is not an exercise in vanity or perfection. It is a ruthless necessity. Machiavelli understood that power is built not by what you possess, but by what cannot be used against you. Every flaw, every hesitation, every moment of indecision is a crack in your armor, and anyone who seeks power or influence knows that even the smallest crack can be fatal. To be strong, to survive, to dominate, you must hunt your weaknesses down with the same ferocity you would bring to an enemy on the battlefield. Weakness is not to be tolerated, it is to be removed permanently. Consider this: people are rarely destroyed by what they cannot control. They are destroyed by what they refuse to control. Laziness, fear, insecurity, pride, impulsiveness. These are not trivial. These are weapons pointed directly at your own chest. They sit there quietly while you chase goals, make alliances, and build ambitions. And yet, the moment opportunity demands action or crisis demands decision, these vulnerabilities betray you. Machiavelli would say that a prince who allows weakness to persist is already halfway to ruin, because strength alone does not protect you if fragility lies within. The elimination of weakness begins with brutal honesty. You must confront yourself and see the cracks exactly as they are, not as you wish them to be. You must acknowledge the impulses that make you falter, the habits that make you predictable, the desires that make you naive. Most people avoid this self-examination because it is uncomfortable. They deceive themselves into believing that change is optional, that flaws are harmless, that everyone has weaknesses, and somehow they can be tolerated. Machiavelli would call this self-deception a crime because it invites disaster. The moment you pretend a weakness does not exist is the moment it begins to undermine you. Once you see the weakness, you cannot bargain with it, you cannot reason with it, you cannot hope it will disappear on its own. You must strike decisively. The process of removing vulnerability is not polite or gradual, it is deliberate and often ruthless. You eliminate what makes you fragile. If you are indecisive, you cultivate decisiveness through discipline until hesitation becomes impossible. If you are easily distracted, you remove the sources of distraction and train your mind to focus with ferocity. If you fear confrontation, you confront daily, deliberately placing yourself in uncomfortable situations until fear loses its power over you. Machiavelli knew that the ruler who avoids internal conflict is the ruler who will face external defeat. Eliminating vulnerability also means understanding your environment and how others perceive you. Every weakness you display is a signal. Competitors, enemies, and opportunists constantly search for gaps to exploit. A failure to act decisively, a hint of self-doubt, a moment of indecision, all of these are invitations for others to take what you have, to undermine your reputation, to challenge your authority. Machiavelli would argue that perception is inseparable from power. Your weaknesses are not private, they are public, and every observer interprets them as opportunities. The removal of vulnerability is both a shield and a weapon. It protects you from attack, while simultaneously projecting strength that deters would-be adversaries. You must also understand that removing weaknesses is an ongoing process. Life will continually present new challenges that test your fortitude. Each encounter exposes potential flaws that you must confront. Machiavelli emphasizes that vigilance is constant. The moment you stop refining yourself, the moment you stop scrutinizing your actions and motivations, the moment you relax your discipline, new weaknesses will emerge to take their place. Strength is not static, it is dynamic, requiring continuous cultivation and ruthless attention. Your enemies are always observing, always waiting for the moment you falter. The greatest power lies not in what you gain, but in what cannot be taken from you. Money, influence, loyalty, all of these are transient. But a mind that has mastered its weaknesses, a character that has removed every vulnerability, a spirit that refuses to yield, these are impervious. Machiavelli teaches that a prince who builds power on external factors alone is like a castle built on sand. A prince who eliminates vulnerability is a fortress. No matter the storm, no matter the attack, no one can find a gate to exploit. Yet most people fail to eliminate their weaknesses because they confuse comfort with safety. They believe that tolerating flaws is harmless, that some weaknesses are charming or relatable, that others will overlook them. Machiavelli would laugh at such folly. Weakness is never forgiven. It is never overlooked. It is always noted, studied, and eventually exploited. The world does not grant mercy to the fragile. It preys on them. It manipulates them, and it uses them as stepping stones. The removal of vulnerability is not optional. It is the difference between survival and ruin, between power and insignificance. Elimination of weakness also requires courage, because many vulnerabilities are tied to desire and emotion. You may cling to habits, attachments, or comforts because they are familiar, because they soothe the fear of change, because they feel like part of your identity. But Machiavelli understood that power demands sacrifice. The removal of vulnerability is not merely a physical or mental exercise, it is a transformation. You must be willing to abandon what is familiar, to confront what is uncomfortable, to discard what limits your potential. Weakness thrives on attachment, and to crush it, you must embrace discomfort as a tool rather than a threat. In the end, to eliminate vulnerability is to reclaim control over your destiny. It is to rise above the manipulations of others, the unpredictability of life, and the limitations of your own mind. The act is not glamorous, it is not celebrated, it is silent, unseen, and relentless. Machiavelli would argue that true power is forged in this private hidden struggle, far from the eyes of onlookers who mistake charisma or luck for strength. The removal of weakness is the work of the shadowed mind, of the disciplined heart, and of the decisive will. Because those who confront what makes them fragile are the ones who survive, dominate, and leave a mark that others can only envy. Control yourself before you attempt to control the world. This is a truth that Machiavelli would have etched into every stone of his philosophy. Power is not granted to the reckless, the impulsive, or the undisciplined. It belongs to those who have mastered themselves, who understand the patterns of their own desires, who recognize the triggers of their own fears, and who can command their impulses as easily as a general commands an army. A ruler who cannot govern his own mind will always be at the mercy of circumstance, reaction, and the manipulations of others. Your impulses are the battlefield where power is first won or lost. Consider this: every decision you make is influenced by internal forces you rarely acknowledge. Anger flares and leads to rash words. Desire tempts you into compromise. Fear freezes you when action is required. Pride blinds you to the truth. Each of these impulses is a weakness in disguise, a force that, if left unchecked, will dictate the course of your life without your consent. Machiavelli observed that rulers fall because they are mastered by what they should master, and in life outside of politics the same law applies. Mastery of the self is the prerequisite for mastery of circumstance. The first step in controlling yourself is awareness. You must become a careful observer of your own mind. Watch your thoughts as though you are watching a rival plot against you. Observe the moments when your patience wanes, when your anger flares, when hesitation clouds your judgment. These are signals of vulnerability. The person who fails to notice them is like a general blind to the movements of the enemy on the battlefield, walking unknowingly into traps of their own making. Machiavelli would argue that self-knowledge is a form of power, because to know your weaknesses is to neutralize them before anyone else can exploit them. But awareness alone is not enough. Observation must be followed by strict discipline. The self is not conquered through wishful thinking, it is conquered through repeated, deliberate action. When fear arises, you act despite it. When desire tempts you, you resist. When anger threatens to explode, you channel it into strategy rather than expression. Discipline is not a punishment, it is armor. Each act of self-control strengthens you, sharpens your will, and teaches your mind that it does not command you, it obeys you. The person who has trained themselves to respond rather than react is a person who cannot be easily undermined. Machiavelli also teaches that control of the self extends to perception. You cannot allow your impulses to reveal your weaknesses to others. The moment a rival perceives your emotional instability, your indecision, or your lack of restraint, they gain leverage over you. To master yourself is to control the signals you emit, the image you present, and the influence you wield. Composure is not just a personal virtue, it is a weapon. It shields you from attack, while simultaneously asserting dominance over those who observe you. In this sense, self-control is both defensive and offensive, protecting your power while projecting it in ways that others cannot challenge. The practice of self-control also requires the management of desire. Desire is a treacherous master, because it can lead you into distraction, compromise, and vulnerability. Machiavelli would argue that the ruler who allows desire to dictate action invites ruin. Every ambition, every craving, every longing must be measured against strategy. You must determine what serves your power and what threatens it. The ability to delay gratification, to deny impulse, and to act with deliberate intention transforms desire from a threat into a tool. When desire is mastered, it no longer controls you, it becomes fuel for action, focused and directed. Control of oneself is also control over fear. Fear is an invisible adversary that manipulates decisions, dictates reactions, and limits possibility. Most people fail not because danger is overwhelming, but because fear becomes their master. Machiavelli instructs that courage is not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it. The disciplined individual faces fear, studies it, and uses it strategically. Fear, once understood and contained, becomes a source of insight rather than a source of weakness. To control yourself is to strip fear of its power and to reclaim the ability to act decisively, even in moments when others would falter. Self-control is the crucible in which all other power is forged. Without it, strategy is meaningless, Alliances are fragile and influence is temporary. Machiavelli would insist that a ruler who cannot govern himself will always be manipulated, undermined, and ultimately destroyed. The same is true for anyone seeking mastery in life. Personal discipline is the foundation of authority. The mind that cannot govern itself will bend to circumstance. The heart that cannot govern itself will bend to desire. The spirit that cannot govern itself will bend to fear. Each bending is a loss of power, a surrender to forces that do not have your best interests at heart. To master oneself requires constant vigilance. The human mind is adaptable, cunning, and prone to self-deception. New impulses arise, old habits resurface, and comfort tempts you into carelessness. The struggle to control oneself is endless, but it is precisely in this struggle that the seeds of dominance are sown. Every moment of self-restraint, every act of disciplined thought, every choice to act rather than react, strengthens the individual. Machiavelli would argue that this is the unseen work of power, the hidden labor that separates rulers from the ruled, victors from the vanquished, and the strong from the weak. Weakness is a signal. It is a neon sign flashing to the world exactly where you are vulnerable, where you can be manipulated, where you can be defeated. Machiavelli understood this with ruthless clarity. Every leader, every ambitious individual, every person seeking influence must recognize that weakness invites predators. It is not enough to hide your flaws. The world does not require an invitation to attack. The moment a weakness is visible, it becomes an opportunity, and there are always those who will seize opportunity without hesitation. To survive, to thrive, and to dominate, you must remove weaknesses before anyone else can exploit them. Consider the nature of predators. They are patient, calculating, and relentless. They do not strike indiscriminately, they strike where advantage is greatest. A single hesitation, a single display of insecurity, a single error of judgment is all they require. Machiavelli knew that in political life, as in the world outside of politics, your enemies observe more than you realize. They study your patterns, your tendencies, and your choices. They map the cracks in your armor with precision, waiting for the right moment to act. The weak are not attacked randomly, they are attacked deliberately, because weakness reveals opportunity. The display of vulnerability is an invitation, whether conscious or unconscious, to be undermined. This is why the elimination of weakness is urgent. To tolerate it is to guarantee eventual exploitation. To ignore it is to hand the world the keys to your downfall. Weakness is not a minor flaw, it is the opening through which others enter to claim what you value. Machiavelli would argue that those who are unprepared, who fail to recognize the danger of their own frailty, do not merely risk loss, they court disaster. Every day that you allow weakness to persist is a day that your enemies gain advantage, sharpen their strategies, and prepare to strike with precision. Predators are not always external. They can be allies, colleagues, friends, or even family. They do not need malice to exploit your weakness, they only need awareness. Humans are opportunists. They observe patterns, they measure limits, and they act when they see a chance. Machiavelli teaches that understanding the intentions and behaviors of others is crucial, but even this knowledge is insufficient if you allow your own vulnerabilities to remain. The strongest defense against predators is a fortress built within, a mind that has eliminated flaws, a character that has been fortified against manipulation. Weakness, left unchallenged, guarantees that no fortress is impregnable. The danger of weakness is amplified because it is rarely obvious to the person who possesses it. Most individuals believe that if they hide their flaws, they are safe. They believe that charm, intelligence, or superficial strength can mask internal fragility. Machiavelli knew better. Weakness reveals itself in countless subtle ways: a pause before a decision, a quiver of doubt, a lapse in self-discipline, and emotional reaction that betrays strategy. These small signs, often overlooked by the person who experiences them, are read with lethal accuracy by those who seek advantage. To ignore them is to act as prey, unaware of the predator circling in the shadows. Eliminating weakness also means understanding its contagious effect. One flaw can spread destruction in ways that are not immediately visible. A lack of discipline undermines productivity, erodes credibility, and invites disrespect. A failure to confront fear encourages hesitation, which in turn encourages others to challenge you. In this way, a single weakness can unravel systems, relationships, and influence with quiet but unstoppable force. Machiavelli would argue that a wise individual does not tolerate such vulnerabilities because even a small crack can become the wedge that collapses an entire structure. The act of removing weakness is therefore not optional, it is strategic. Another truth is that predators respect only strength. They do not hesitate when opportunity is clear, and they will test you relentlessly to determine where that strength lies. A ruler who is vulnerable, whether physically, mentally, or emotionally, is a target. A competitor who hesitates is prey. Those who display resilience, control, and ruthlessness are met with caution, not attack. Weakness invites challenge. Strength deters it. Machiavelli's lesson is simple. If you do not remove weakness, you do not merely risk attack, you ensure it. Weakness also has a psychological effect beyond immediate exploitation. It encourages self-doubt, fuels indecision, and erodes confidence. Predators sense this internal instability as keenly as they sense external signals. The person who struggles internally cannot present strength externally. Weakness broadcasts itself not only in actions, but in posture, tone, and energy. It is a silent language that others read with deadly clarity. Machiavelli would insist that those who wish to dominate must master this invisible battlefield, eliminating vulnerability not only to protect themselves, but to project invulnerability that deters predators before they even approach. In truth, the presence of weakness is never private. It radiates outward. It influences how others perceive you, how they measure your capacity, and how they decide whether to trust, challenge, or manipulate you. Machiavelli would assert that perception is inseparable from power, and weakness is its most conspicuous flaw. Those who tolerate vulnerability are perpetually exposed, their power diminished not by overt attacks, but by the constant probing of others who test their limits. To remove weakness is to reclaim authority, to take control of the signals you emit, and to ensure that the world must measure you against strength rather than fragility. You have seen it now. Weakness is not an abstract enemy. It is a force that waits patiently, silently, inside you. It erodes your power, sabotages your ambition, and signals to the world that you can be exploited. Machiavelli's lesson is clear. The moment you ignore it, you invite destruction. The first step is awareness, the brutal recognition of your flaws, the acknowledgement of every hesitation, every fear, every impulse that can betray you. Awareness alone, however, is not enough. You must act decisively to eliminate vulnerability. Remove the cracks before they become chasms. Discipline your mind, your body, your heart, and your instincts. Hunt down the weaknesses that make you predictable, that make you exploitable, that make you fragile in a world where strength is the only currency. Every moment you tolerate weakness, you give the world permission to strike, and it will strike without hesitation. Control yourself before you attempt to control the world. Master your impulses, channel your emotions, and direct your desires. The battlefield of self-mastery is where power is first forged. Those who command themselves project strength, deter enemies, and act with precision. Those who fail are manipulated, undermined, and ultimately destroyed, often by forces they cannot even see. And remember, weakness invites predators. The world is always watching. Opportunists, rivals, and enemies do not need to create your vulnerabilities. They only need to recognize them. They will test you, probe you, and exploit any crack in your armor. Strength deters attack, weakness invites it. To survive, to dominate, to leave your mark, you must remove what makes you fragile, and you must do so relentlessly. The lesson is ruthless, but it is simple. Crush your weaknesses before they crush you. Build your fortress from within, for no external power can protect what has been left exposed inside. Let self-mastery, discipline, and ruthless honesty with yourself be your tools, your weapons, and your armor. Power does not forgive hesitation, and the world does not wait for the weak. To conquer life, to rise above your rivals, to stand unshaken in the face of challenge, you must act now, decisively, and without compromise.